Good day, great network enthusiasts. It's another beautiful day. We are going to look into another beautiful topic called post security, though not a cyber security, but at least as a network admin or a network engineer, you must be able to do some basic security configuration. So it is a layer 2 concept anyway, layer 2 security concept that protect the network against unauthorized access and also against some kind of mass attack like JCP snooping, where fake addresses are spoof fake addresses are prevented from entering the switch port of switches. Alright, so the video will be a bit lengthy because of how much the commands are, and I'm also taking my time to explain each commands. This is just like a lecture and then a lab. Okay, so just take your time, compose, and also enjoy the video. So don't let the numbers of the commands take your attention away or discourage you. There's one good news about this. Okay, so the good news is that they all start with the switch port. Okay, so once you enter the first line of the command, you can use question mark to remember anyone that you have forgotten. So as far as you can remember the first line, switch port for security, then use question mark and every other commands will appear there. Alright, so enjoy the video. Security. Okay, so when you talk about port security, it's very important. Why port security is a layer 2 concept that protect switch port against unauthorized access to the network, where you configure only some certain MAC address to be allowed on that port. Okay, so if any other ports, any other devices that is not authorized is plugged into that switch port, action will be taken. Okay, either the port is disabled, that is the default action anyway, or there's any other action like the traffic will be blocked but the port will still be enabled. Alright, so there are so many configurations in port security, though not every one of them are compulsory, but to change some of the default setting, that's when you have to enter some of the security configuration rather. Okay, so when the configurations are many in this kind of situation, you have to jot it down, write your step down so that you don't forget any of the steps. But when the commands are just 1, 2, 3 commands, you can just decide to just enter it without writing them down. But in this case, there are more than 5 commands. So we are going to use packet tracer as usual, but some of these commands may not be supported in the packet tracer. So if you try to do it in packet tracer and some of the commands are not supported, no problem. Just know that if you use a or new modem, new devices, it will be supported. So just follow the steps of the command. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is to change the interface mode to either trunk or access. Okay, so before you configure any of this port security, you cannot do it on auto mode of the DTP, that is dynamic trunking protocol. If it is on auto, it will not be allowed, so you have to change it to either access port or a trunk port. Okay, before we go straight into that, let me give you a brief example of where a port security will be useful, where you may need it. Okay, where it will play important role, like a security breach situation, like when someone just come in and then he plug his own laptop to a company's network, which is not allowed. So that kind of situation, his own MAC address is different from the one configured on that switch port, so the port may enter error disable mode. Or a situation whereby an attacker tried to do some kind of MAC address spoofing to flood MAC address to overwhelm the switch MAC address learning capability, so that it can achieve some kind of attack like JCP snooping, so sending countless JCP requests using different kinds of MAC address. So that kind of situation, this kind of port security setting can prevent it if you reduce the amount of allowed MAC address on the interface. Okay, so in summary, these are the steps we are going to take with the associated command. So we do it together in the lab, so let's get started immediately. Alright, so I have make this simple lab. In this simple lab, we will configure this F01. We will configure a port security on this F01, allow just 2 MAC address, which is for PC2, for this PC and this PC. So we will use this other PC to do the testing, which have different MAC address to breach the rules. Okay, so we will go straight into the device. We see that the port we are going to configure is fast Ethernet 01. So enter configuration mode, enable. Our agenda, the first step is to make the port access port or a trunk port. So it's connecting to end host. So let's make it an access port. Then the next step is to enable port security with the command switch port security. So we do these two at once. Alright, so enter configuration mode with conf T. Enter interface configuration mode with interface F0/1, right? No short. It's not shut down anyway, but let me just enter that. Sorry, no short. Then switch port mode. Switch port mode access. Then switch port security. Let me use tab. Okay, I just enabled port security on this interface now. So right now the default settings of the port security will be there, such as allowed MAC address will be only 1, then the violation mode will be shut down, which is entering error disable mode, then timer will be 0. There is any interface, any MAC address that is learned on this interface will never age out. Okay, so unless you manually remove it. Okay, so we will look at our agenda again and then look at the next step to take. We have enabled port security on the interface. So let's just show the port security we just configured and then show the various interfaces that port securities are enabled on. Alright, so let me exit out of here. Exit again. First one is to show port security. Let me use tab. Okay, so you can see port security is enabled on only fast Ethernet 01. So security action is shut down. So if there's any breach, if there's any violation, the interface will be shut down. Okay, security counter is 0 because there's no any violation of rules yet. Current address is 0 because there's no any address learned. There's no any MAC address learned from that interface yet. Okay, alright, so maximum address allowed is 1. So these are the default ones, but let me enter more details by showing the port security for only fast Ethernet 01. Okay, this one show port security is for all interfaces that have port security enabled. So let me do show port security interface F0/1. Alright, so you can see the various default settings there. Port security is enabled. The status is secure up. What does it mean? Because there's port security enabled on it and the interface is up right now, so it is secured up. Violation mode is shut down. If there's any violation, the interface will enter error disable mode. So aging time is 0. That's what I was talking about. The aging time, that is, it will never age out. Any MAC address learned on this interface will remain there forever unless you remove it, but this is not an idea, so we'll remove it later if the configuration is allowed on this packet tracer. Then aging time is absolute. Okay, so if you enable aging timing, what does the absolute mean? Is we start counting immediately you just enable it. So if you, for example, if you enable aging time of 5 minutes, as soon as you enable it, 5 minutes will start counting down till once it's 5 minutes, that MAC address will be removed. Okay, so how does it does the switch still allow the MAC address? As soon as that MAC address tries to send traffic to any other device and the MAC address is learned on the interface again, it will be added back to the allowed MAC address. Then the aging time continue counting, so the process will be repeating. It's just like when you are in exam hall and they say your time starts. Okay, so whether you write something down or not, your time is counting down till the allowed time is finished. Okay, so we will change this one later also, so to another one called inactivity. All right, so that one is a bit different from this one. That one, as far as the MAC address is sending traffic, it will never age out. It will only age out when that MAC address is inactive. Okay, it's not using. So once the MAC address is still sending traffic and the aging time is counting, as soon as a traffic is received from that same MAC address, it will be reset to 0. So that's how the inactivity aging type work. Okay, so security static address aging is disabled. Okay, this one is a bit different. If you manually configure a allowed MAC address on the device, it will never age out, even though if you put aging time and all this stuff. So all this aging time will only work on the ones that are learned dynamically. Okay, so if you do a manual configuration of MAC address on the device to be allowed, it will never age out. So maximum MAC address is 1, so that's the allowed one. Total MAC address length is 0 because there's no one length yet. Configure MAC address is 0 because I have not configured any static or manual MAC address. Sticky MAC address is 0. That's another concept which is different from normal static MAC address. Okay, so the sticky MAC address is a kind of MAC address you configure. The device will learn it manually, but you will instruct the device to make it a static one, and it will never age out. Even though if you allowed aging of static address, this sticky one will never age out. It will remain in the configuration forever, unless if you decide to remove it by removing the commands. Okay, so last source address and their VLANs, no one yet. Okay, then secure violation count is 0 because there's no violation yet. So if I send traffic, then this one will change to the current PC MAC address I sending the traffic. All right, so I've wasted so many time here explaining. I think it's very important as I explained. So for those that are not familiar, what we're going to do next is to view a secure MAC address. Okay, so if there's any MAC address that is manually configured to be allowed, or any MAC address that is dynamically learned to be allowed on that port, it will be labeled as secure MAC address in the MAC address table. So to view that kind of MAC address, you use the show MAC address secure. Normally the show MAC address show all MAC addresses learn on the switch, but if you include the secure, it will only filter it to show only the secured MAC address length. So at this moment I think it will be 0 because I have not the switch have not learned any MAC address, and I have not configured any static MAC address. So I don't know if packet tracer even support that. So let's just do the show MAC address secure. Okay, so let me see. Let me use question mark dynamic interface. Okay, the secure option is not available on packet tracer, so it's only the global MAC address table that will be shown here. So all the MAC address table learned on the switch will be shown here. All right, so we are done with that step. We'll be going to another step. Switch port security maximum. Okay, you want to increase the maximum allowed MAC addresses on the switch on that port. Why do you have to do this even though there is only one device connected to this F01? Sometimes you may use voice VLAN, then you have to use IP phones. So, and normally IP phones are connected in series with the PC. So if IP phone is sending a traffic, the PC is 1, then the IP phone MAC address make it 2. So the MAC address that will be entering this F02 will become 2. So you have to increase it from that default 1 to at least 2. So in this case, we have planned, in our instruction, we say we should increase it to, where is it? Increase the number of allowed MAC address. Okay, no, any number was specified here, so we just increase it to at least 2. Okay, so let's just do that. Enter configuration mode, conft interface F01, sorry, F0/1, switch port security. Okay, so the command is switch port security, then maximum, right? Maximum. Let me use question mark. Okay, maximum addresses. Let me make it 2. Okay, so that's how to increase the maximum numbers of allowed MAC address on an interface. Then after that, we are done with that. Let's go to setting the aging time. Okay, so we say that the aging time by default is 0. Any MAC address learned on this interface will never age out. So let's just increase it to at least some minutes. Okay, so let's go back again. Let me hit the up arrow I want to change this section maximum to aging, right? Let me use question mark, aging. Okay, question mark again, time. Then let me use question mark again to know the unit it is used. Okay, aging time in minutes. Okay, so let me say 10 minutes. Any MAC address that is learned on this interface should age out in the next 10 minutes. So hit enter. So we are done with this one. To increase the aging time from 0 to 10 minutes, we just configure that. Okay, then the next one is changing the aging timer type. Okay, so let me look at it. You want to change it from that absolute so that it will not start counting as soon as you just enable it. So I want to change it to another type, maybe inactivity. So I think there are about 3 types, or is it 2 types? So when we are configuring it, I will use question mark to see the various options. So switch port aging type, use question mark. Is it not aging type? Let me see the option, the command. It's aging type, of course. So packet tracer doesn't support this, I guess. So it is aging type, but packet tracer doesn't recognize it. So we will skip this step to look into the other step. Which other one? Support for security aging type. We just finish with that one. Statically configure a MAC address with oh, this is a command, this is a mistake. Statically configure MAC address age out. Support for security age. Okay, I get it now. So just as I said earlier, if you manually configure a static MAC address to be allowed on the port, it will never age out. So I want it to be aging out. I want MAC address to be a manual MAC address configured to be aging out, just like our dynamically learned MAC address also. So we are going to enable that. So switch port security. Let's look at the command again. Aging static. Okay, aging static. Not allowed. Okay, packet tracer doesn't support this one too, so it only supports aging time. Alright, so just know that the command is correct anyway. The command is correct, but packet tracer doesn't support it. So let's move on to the next step. Manually configure a MAC address with this format. Switch port security MAC address. Okay, so let's go to that. Switch port security MAC address. Oh, let me use question mark. Okay, there's a mistake here. Security MAC address. Alright, so I can enter the MAC address now. So what I'm going to do is to enter the MAC address of the connected PC. So I'll go back to that, click on the PC. Normally, if you want to know the MAC address of a PC, you use this command, ipconfig/all. But packet tracer PC doesn't support this command. So the alternative way to do this is to go to the config, then enter the interface F0 fast ethernet 0, then here is the MAC address. I will highlight it, then copy it. Copy. Okay, so I'll go back to the CLI of the switch again. Then I will enter the MAC address. Now I will paste it. Okay, so this is the MAC address of the PC 0. Hit enter. Now I've manually or statically configured this MAC address of this PC to be allowed on this port on the switch. So if this PC is sending traffic to anybody in the network or even to the router, it will not be counted as violation. Okay, so because its MAC address is allowed on this switch. Okay, so the next step is to look at change the default violation mode with switch port security violation, then you choose the violation of your choice. The current one is shut down, so we are going to enable different one, which is a restrict. Okay, we are going to use restrict. So how does restrict different from the shutdown? If there's a violation in the current shutdown default type, the interface will be shut down. But in the restrict mode, if there's a violation, the interface will not be shut down. It will just block the unauthorized traffic from the source, from the unauthorized source MAC address, and then just keep sending. It will keep generating syslog messages so that the network admin will be aware of what's going on. So if there's a violation, the network admin will be aware because of the syslog message that will be displaying on the CLI of the switch, but the interface will never enter error disable mode, and then the violation counter will keep on increasing. All right, so that's what we are going to do. Okay, so let's go back to the CLI. The command is port security. Let me clear all this one. Violation, right? Violation. Let me use question mark. Okay, restrict. Okay, so we are going to use this restrict. Protect is another mode. Protect is another mode where we are not using protect. So let me continue with restrict, then enter. All right, so we are done with that. What next? That is all on the port security configuration, but this one is an additional configuration that is not port security itself. In case you use the shutdown mode and then there's a violation and then port security make the interface to enter a shutdown mode, you don't need to be entering the CLI of the switch every time to be shutting down and then re-enabling the interface with shutdown, no shutdown, shutdown, no shutdown every time there is a violation. So we use error disabled recovery to manually re-enable interfaces that are shut down by any other violation. It may not be only port security, there might be other issues that may enable interface to enter error disable. So if you use this error disable recovery, it's just like automatically re-enabling interface that enter error disable. Okay, but I just noticed that for packet tracer, in packet tracer, this command, this error disable is not, recovery is not recognized, so it's not going to work out. But let's just try to do it and see. All right, so I'll go back. I've completed my port security. So before I go into the error disable mode, we have to test our configuration. So first of all, to test that, we'll ping the router from this PC. So you will see that the traffic will be allowed and there will be no violation. Or we also use this PC1 to ping. The traffic will also be allowed without violation because we allowed two traffics. We allowed two MAC addresses to be learned on these F0 interfaces because we increased the maximum MAC addresses to 2. So once this PC1 tries to send traffic to any other device in the network, for example this router, what will happen is that its MAC address will automatically be learned and added to the secure or allowed MAC addresses, because one more room for another MAC addresses is still allowed on this switch, because there's only one allowed MAC addresses learned so far, which is for this PC0. So if this PC1 try to send traffic, its MAC address will also be added to the secure MAC addresses. Okay, so when there will be violation is when this PC2 try to send traffic, because the allowed maximum MAC addresses have been exceeded by this PC0 and PC1. So if this PC2 try to send traffic, then it will breach the rule. Okay, it will cause violation. All right, so what we're going to do now is to do our test with a ping. Okay, so I'm going to ping. I previously pinged the router. Ping the router IP address is 192.168.1.1. okay, so the ping is going through. So let's check our port security status again. Okay, so do show port, let me use tab. Okay, port security, use question mark. Okay, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Let me exit out of here. Show port security. Okay, so maximum secure address, because we increased the address to be 2, now it has changed to 2. Then correct count address, that's the one we configure, is 1. security violation. There's no violation so far, and then we change the mode from shutdown to restrict. So let me do the show port security for this faster than 01 again. Interface, sorry, interface F0/1. all right, so this is the address we configure, and this is it. VLAN is on VLAN 1 because all interfaces are on VLAN 1 by default unless you change it. So no security count yet. So maximum allowed MAC addresses is 2. Then secure static address agent is disable. Secure static address agent disable, I think. Okay, because it was not allowed. I think we forgot one commands. I don't know if it will be allowed anyway, but I will still go back to do it because of in my list. I don't know how I jumped it. We were talking about sticky MAC address. Okay, so sticky MAC address learning. Okay, here we didn't put this command, but I will try to put it now. But let me go back again. So the mode is restrict now. The interface is secure and it is up. Then port security is enabled. So let me go back to the configuration mode again. Conf T interface F0/1. I want to try that sticky MAC address, whether it will be allowed. Okay, switch port security. Switch port security MAC address sticky. Okay, so it's allowed. Okay, so I explained what this sticky MAC address is all about earlier. So to reduce the length of the video, it's very long already, so I'm not going to explain that again. So if you watch from the beginning of the video, you know what sticky MAC address is all about. All right, so we keep on going with our testing. We just test the first PC and then it pings successfully without causing any violation. So what I'm going to do now is to connect this second PC also. Delete the link, then connect it back. Connect this PC to that same fast Ethernet 01. Then once the interface come up, we'll try to ping the the router again to see if there will be violation. So it's on number right to desktop, command prompt. Okay, the interface is up now, so ping 192.168.1.1. okay, so as you can see, the ping is going. Let me check my port security status again and show port security interface F0/1. okay, so let me check them from up to down. Enable status is secure up, that means there's no violation. Mode is restrict, 10-minute agent time. Then agent type is absolute. Okay, we were unable to change some of these commands, so the agent type and other stuff. So maximum MAC address is 2. That is the one we configure. Total MAC address is 2 because there are 2 MAC address lane now. One for the PC0, which we manually configured, and then one for the PC1, which is just learn on its own because PC1 send traffic through the interface, so it dynamically learn the PC1 MAC address. Okay, so configure MAC address is 1. That's because we configure one manually. Sticky MAC address is 1. This is the MAC address it learn dynamically and it convert it to sticky MAC address because this MAC address will never age out. Okay, so this is the MAC address we configure. Alright, so everything is working fine so far. So now we want to test the PC2. This PC2 will cause a violation, I believe. Okay, so if our configuration is properly done, cancel. If our configuration is properly done, then PC2 should cause a violation because the maximum allowed MAC address on the interface has been learned so far. So let me connect PC2 to the same interface and then try to ping the router again. Alright, so it will take some time because of spanning tree for the interface to come up. But while it is coming up, let me enter the command prompt and be typing the ping 192.168.1.1. All right, so let me check if the interface is up now. Still not up, so I want the interface to come up before I ping. Okay, the interface is up now, so ping. You can see the ping is failing. I believe it's because of port security. So port security is blocking that MAC address. So let's check the CLI of this switch again. What is happening? Is there any syslog? Is our current mode a shutdown? It's on rest trace. So why is it changing this interface to down? Okay, change state to up. I think let me see what happened with the show port security again. Violation mode is restrict. Okay, the interface is up. Secure static MAC address agent enable. Security violation count is 4. Okay, so there's violation now. That's why we are receiving syslog messages. Okay, so why is the violation count 4? It's because of the numbers of ping. It's the number of ping the PC is trying to send to the router is 4. So if you keep on pinging, this violation count will keep on increasing. Okay, so let me see how many ping. Timeout 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first one fail. Okay, the 4 pings fail because they were blocked. So if I ping again and there are 4 additional timeout pings, then the security violation count will increase to 8. So right now it is still failing. All right, so let's check the status again. Hit up arrow. As you can see, the violation count has increased to 8 because there are 8 pings now. Okay, so what I'm going to do for the last testing is to change the violation mode to the default one, which is shut down. Okay, so what will happen if the PC2 try to ping again? It will shut down this interface. Okay, so let me go back to configuration mode again with conft, then interface configuration mode with interface F0/1, then switch port security, switch port security, it's enabled. So then switch port security violation. See the various option, shut down. So shut down. Okay, so let me try to ping again. The interface will be shut down. You can see the interface status has changed to red because it has been shut down because of the violation. And you can see the syslog messages. The interface has changed to administratively down. So everything is down right now. Even though if you connect the right PC to this interface, it can't forward traffic anymore unless you manually shut it and unshut it to recover the interface to its off state. So let me show port security, interface F0/1. So 9 violation, that is the last packet that caused the shutdown. Then status is secure down because the interface is secure and it has been shut down. Alright, so let me show interface status. F01 error disabled. Can you see that? F01 is in error disable mode now. So assuming there is error disable recovery support in this device, I would have just enabled it, then after some minutes it will come up by itself. But as far as there's still violation, it will keep shutting down, so you have to correct the violation first, the cause of the violation rather. Okay, so how to enable the interface? Since error disable recovery is not allowed on this device, the alternative way is to manually do it. So you have to enter the interface mode with conft, then interface F0/1. So the solution is to first shut the interface down. Okay, let me just shut. Okay, then you re-enable it back with no shut. So the interface have changed state to up. So if I try to ping again, the interface will enter error disable mode again. So the best thing is to solve the problem before you even enable the interface. So the best thing is to first of all resolve the issue, remove the unauthorized device. So remove the unauthorized device by disconnecting it, then connect authorized device. Okay, so I have to enable the interface back. Shut, first of all shut it down, then no shut. Alright, so as you can see, the interface is back up again. Alright, so that's the end of this lab. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, always subscribe to my channel. If you have not subscribed before, then share with friends, comment and like. Have a nice day.